Hey everybody, welcome back. Hot button issue, especially if you're in the prepping community, if you believe in your Second Amendment rights, so on and so forth, is the Protecting Our Children Act. Don't you love how they use titles like that? Protecting Our Children Act. Because why wouldn't you want to protect our children, right? You can think that there's all kinds of things wrong with what's in the act, but are you going to have the courage to say, no, I don't want to help the Protecting Our Children Act? That's why they name it stuff like that, so they can use it against you. And this is passed in the House. This is passed in the House of Representatives. And people are worried about that, but of course, you know, there's still a very long process to go. It still has to pass in the Senate. It can still be approved or vetoed by the president. It could still be kicked out by the Supreme Court if it's brought to the Supreme Court, which by that time, if it's brought to the Supreme Court, of course, then precedence has been set. And that's something to concern yourself with whenever precedence is set on something. So it's been passed in the House, probably will fail in the Senate. And again, they call it that so they can use it against you. They love using kids. Politicians love using kids as a talking point. And it was done to my kid. When I was living in Kansas still, found out that his school went on a, and he wasn't living with me at the time because I had him in private school. His mother put him in public when she got custody of him. He's telling me that he had gone to the Capitol building and met the governor. I was like, how'd that work? Well, we were on a field trip and then we went to the Capitol building and they said, oh, the governor's available, let's go see the governor. And we all had to stand around his desk while they took pictures and signed papers. And they use you that way. I was offended by that. They use these little kids. What 8-year-old kid gives a shit about the governor? Knows who it is, cares, understands any of that. And they shouldn't have to. They're too young. They're far too young. But this is what happens. They use these kids like this. So what's in this bill? What is going on with the bill? First of all, they want to block the sales. They want you to be no longer 18 but 21 years of age to purchase certain centerfire rifles, semi-automatic centerfire rifles. Translation: black rifles. Okay, anything that's black is tactical and you should be afraid of it, correct?
So what if it's the pink ones?
Isn't that the narrative?
Or the camouflage one? Because you know when you go to gun shows, they have different colors.
I know that, but I'm just being a little facetious there. But that's the concept, because there's far more, you know, there's, if it looks like a traditional like hunting rifle with wood grain and all of that, people don't seem to care so much. But you could have the exact same type of rifle and it's all black. Oh, now it's tactical. And oh, you're buying, if somebody had made a comment, people shouldn't be allowed to have access to military grade weapons so easily. And this is a comment made by someone who follows the narrative and doesn't understand anything about guns and should be quiet or do some research. I don't have access to military grade weapons. Do you? You can if you're a collector with the right licensing, or you own a gun store, something like that. You can get access to that kind of stuff if you can afford the licenses and afford to maintain them and pay the prices a gun like that would cost, and don't mind the ATF coming to your house every 2 to 3 months to make sure you still have them. I know somebody who has a license like that. The ATF never leaves that guy alone. If you want to put up with all that, sure. But no, you don't just walk in and say, yes, I would like that 50 caliber belt-fed machine gun, and walk home with it and just go run around spraying bullets all over the place. But that's what a lot of people who don't know any better believe, because that's what they've been told all these years. The other thing that that they're trying to do is, you know, and I wrote some of it down so I wouldn't forget, is new federal offenses against gun trafficking. Who in one of these instances, like the Uvalde is the most recent one, right? Did he buy it illegally? Was it a gun trafficking incident? Who are you talking about with gun trafficking? Is Joe down the street who's selling his old 308, smuggling guns in and out of the country and laundering money? What's that got to do with it? Aren't the regulations on that already super strict?
Yeah.
I mean,
But if you go to Chicago, they leave cases of them in the alley.
I have heard like gang members in interviews say that they
Yeah,
have found
I've seen videos
in
on that.
train yards and in like alleyways and stuff like that they find a crate and you open it up and it's got guns in it that you don't even know what they are.
Yeah, it's super illegal, and the ammo to go with it.
Yeah. Explain that. The other one is bans on large capacity magazines. Here we go with this again. What is exactly a large capacity magazine to these people? They want us to run around with muskets, ball and powder, long rifles.
But I mean, because it seems like when we were in Illinois, you couldn't buy a magazine with I think it was a 30-round capacity. I want to say it was 30 rounds. I know it was something like that. So what is your idea of high capacity?
Whatever they say it is, it's too open-ended. And they like open-ended like that because they can make it mean anything that they want.
Yeah, because next thing you know, it'll be 25, 20, 15, 5.
5, yeah. 5 in your magazine, even in your pistol. And the other one was more money for buyback programs. Every state has a buyback program already. Did you ever see these work? Have you ever like looked at one of these buybacks? You know what people do? You remember, I'm not going to say his name, but you know that one guy that used to be down the road from us in Illinois, and he had some broken rifles, and he had them set aside because he was waiting for the next Illinois buyback to roll around. He said, yeah, it's a few months out, and I'll take those there and do the buyback because I can't get rid of them otherwise because it costs too much to get them fixed. That's what people use that for. I mean, there's nobody sitting there. I know they like to find the one guy with the sob story that's like, oh what was it? That one, I turned in my AR-15 to the police because I felt so heartbroken about Uvalde.
Yeah,
one person.
And I care about our future and the future of the kids and all kind of garbage.
He makes national news.
If that's even true.
If it's even true. Yeah, you can't tell with any of this stuff anymore. That's why there's so many conspiracy theories about a lot of these instances being red flags or being blown up or, all sorts of things like that.
Well, it's so weird because they're all happening at once.
Yeah.
It was like when we had the president in there, Donald J. Trump, we hadn't hardly no mass shootings. Now we got the pedophile and the prostitute in there.
There we go.
And we got a mass shooting. But in a month, we've had, like 3 or 4? And
then what constitutes, when I think mass shooting, I think about, I forget the name of it, the square when Gandhi was protesting and the military opened up on the crowd in the square and killed 1,500 people. That's a mass shooting. Mass shooting isn't 3 people were shot and all 3 of them are alive. That's another really open-ended thing. I'm not trying to diminish it if it happens. Because somebody would be like, oh, that's so insensitive, but I'm trying to think about it logically. What constitutes an actual mass shooting to these people? It's too open-ended. There's no guidelines. So anything counts.
Yeah.
And you don't know. And this was one that I think is really interesting. And this is the reason probably why this is going to get thrown out in the Senate, just saying, because it's too invasive. It says criminal penalties for not obeying regulations on firearms storage in residential premises. And also tax breaks for the manufacturers of gun safes for mass production. So basically what they're saying is that they're going to make it a law that if you own a firearm, you have to have a gun safe in your house. So the kid in Uvalde who spent $5,000 on rifles, ammos, and body armor. What's another $1,000 for a safe then at that point? Where did he get the money? He working at Wendy's 25 hours a week. I don't know. And a $70,000 truck. There's a lot of big question marks there. But he can buy the safe too. So it'll slow him down 2 minutes while he opens the combination to get it out to go to the school.
But I mean, what do they consider a safe? Because, if you got a Pelican case and you have the locks on it,
Would that count?
Would that count as a safe?
That's a good example.
Or if you have your weapons and all of them have the weapons lock, because you know they come with the weapons
Yeah,
lock.
a lot of them do. That's true.
And if you go to the VA, they'll give you a weapons
That's
lock.
true.
Especially if you go in there talking about you got PTSD. Oh, you want a gun lock? No.
That's right. They do that.
I don't want a gun lock. I need it, you know. But they'll ask you if you want a gun lock, and they will give you one.
Yeah,
They
I want to
will
sit there
give
and
you
fumble
one.
with a gun lock and try to reload a
But
gun
I mean,
while
okay,
somebody's
so
breaking
if you have your weapons and they're in a gun lock and they're behind a locked door, you know what?
Yeah.
You know you got like a file cabinet or something with a lock on it, or you have a dresser bureau with a lock on it. Would that suffice?
And some people have custom shelves
Yeah.
with a weapon inside.
I've seen those
Yeah.
those videos of the shelves, and you can't tell that it's a safe, but it is. You know, does that count?
Who knows where they're going with that, because that's not explained in detail either. But also, how's that supposed to be enforced if your purchases are still supposed to be private? How do they know if you have a gun or not? Because, you know, they've denied that for years. I'm sure they know where every pistol and rifle in the country is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all, and that's just an act. Because you are being run for a purchase when you do the Brady thing.
Yeah.
You know what I don't see in that bill is safety glasses.
Yeah. Now I'm 100% in favor of all gun owners have a mandatory safety training, gun safety training, 8 hours or more. At the
Yeah.
least 8 hours.
Just so you don't hurt yourself even.
Yeah.
You know, just I have no problem with that, because a lot of people, they're into it, but they didn't have a mentor. You know, they didn't have a parent or some other relative or a friend who showed them how to do something right, and they can make mistakes. And I think that's a good idea, but I didn't see anything about training.
No.
Nothing. And also now we got Biden on Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel is calling on him to sign an executive order. Does anybody still watch Jimmy Kimmel? Aren't we about fed up with? We haven't had a good late night talk shows host since Johnny Carson. And then Matthew McConaughey, please shut up and mind your business. I'm really tired of celebrities chiming in. People who have no idea what it's like to be a regular person, that are so far out of touch with reality that it's just sickening. Career politicians and celebrities and athletes, just please mind your business. I don't want to hear what Matthew McConaughey has to say about it, or Jimmy Kimmel, or Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, a career politician, he's never done a day's labor in his life.
Yeah, but he got bodyguards.
Except walking up the stairs.
He got specially trained bodyguards.
He's got Secret Service agents that are trained to step in front of a bullet. How hard is that to train for?
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, so you got 24-hour protection. So don't talk to me about anything.
The people, they're hypocrites, and I want to emphasize on how much of a hypocrite they actually are, as we're in a little break from the sudden downpour here. Leland Yee. Never ever forget that name. Leland Yee. Okay, Leland Yee was the senator for San Francisco. Okay, U.S. Senator for San Francisco. I think he was a senator for 9 years. Career politician. Every job Leland ever had was in politics. It's one of those kind, like Biden, like Obama. Name your
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, name your career politician. Everything he ever did was in politics. He was massively anti-gun and a huge advocate for gun control. Leland Yee, look that name up. Huge advocate for gun control, got the Brady Award for his work on gun control and advocating against firearms in the United States. Arrested and convicted, I believe it was 2015, for arms trafficking. Arms trafficking, RICO, bribery. He had been doing it for like probably, I think, a couple of decades.
Yeah, they said he was the biggest trafficker in the United States.
In the United States, and he had been trafficking even overseas, back and forth, in across the country and in and out of the country.
Yeah, in South America, all of those places, Mexico.
Yeah, and this is your biggest gun advocate, getting awards. His list of awards for that kind of stuff, and for recognition for writing up bills for gun control. He received many awards and a lot of accolades for that. And again, huge hypocrite, because he was trafficking guns. He was making a lot of side money, huge side money, trafficking guns through and in and out of the country. And where the RICO ties in, because of the bribes, because he had been bribing lawmakers that were wise to him in California to keep their mouths shut. So a lot of the boys were in the club, and all of them at the same time were like, "Woo, yeah, gun control." Well, somebody back there.
Yeah, this
turtle. Oh, there goes the turtle. Yeah, there's a lot of turtles back here.
Okay.
They usually don't come out until they're ready to mate, though.
Yeah, but my thing.
So Leland Yee, look that name up, and remember, all of them are hypocrites. He just got caught.
Yeah. And I'm, like I said before, I'm all about gun safety training, and that's
Sure.
the only good thing that they did in Illinois. It was mandatory, because you had to get a FOID card.
Yeah.
You couldn't do nothing. You couldn't touch a weapon or ammo if you did not have a FOID card.
Yeah.
And to get that FOID card, you had to go through at the least 8 hours of certified weapons training.
Yeah.
And you had to go to a certified person. They had a list of people you could go to, places you could go for training. I thought that was the only thing that they did that made sense.
Yeah, because the rest of it was extremely strict, and when you get into Cook County, you have zero rights. And look how the gun violence is down there. It obviously doesn't work, but they're calling for more.
Yeah,
Their big mistake was letting the IRA get involved. The Illinois Rifle Association screwed them over. The IRA sold people in Illinois out, and I had an argument with that about people at the gun club when I was in the club down there, because they were like, "Oh, the NRA was going to screw everything up because the NRA, because they were in violation of federal statutes, was going to go for constitutional carry," and they were like, "Oh, the IRA stepped in for us and explained, how, you don't want just anybody to have a gun and all that." Not anybody who wants a gun is still going to be able to get one illegally anyways. You basically set yourself up to fall under all of these unnecessary regulations. IRA set you up. A constitutional carry would have been better. Now you have to have 2 licenses. You have to waiting periods. There's the FOID card, like she mentioned, and one of the people that was doing the class was a police officer and warned us. Said, for example, if you have a FOID card and your wife doesn't, and you went to the shooting range and forgot a box of ammo, and she gets pulled over and they find it and she doesn't have one, every bullet in there is going to count as a charge against her. She's going to jail. That's how strict it is. And he even said it was unfair, unrealistic and unfair, but it's the way it is here.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, I don't believe in all that. I believe you should do whatever you want to do. Like I said, the only thing that I am in favor of is mandatory weapons training.
Sure.
And I think they need to revisit the mental health laws, because if you look at all of these so-called mass shootings from, throughout history.
As far back as you can go.
Yeah.
They're all on, like, antidepressants.
Yeah, they're all on some type of psych meds of some sort.
And that's what we talked about when we talked about the most recent event, because we both work in mental health. And that was my big point about the way that kid looked, the expression on his face. We see it on all of our clients.
Yeah.
That's just a very heavily medicated expression. But you can only... It only suppresses your emotion for so long. It's like filling up a water balloon. Eventually, and the balloon itself is the medication. Eventually, it's going to burst, and then it's going to splatter all over everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what happens. These people, they snap off.
So that's what needs to be changed.
A societal problem and a mental health problem. And they love throwing pills at you. They love medicating you. The people that we work with are medicated to the point where they have to be tested regularly to make sure that they're not getting liver and kidney failure.
I know. I go to the VA. They always wanted you to go to the psych people. I'm like, no, I'm not going there. The first thing they're gonna say is, "You want to get on some psych meds?"
No.
I'm like, no. That's why I don't go.
And it messes you up. I mean, what's the main warning? Suicidal tendencies. I thought it was supposed to stop depression.
Yeah. First thing it do, cause you to be suicidal.
Yeah, think about it, guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, thoughts, I just wanted to throw that out there. Odds are it's not going to pass. If it does, it'll be a disaster because it sets precedents. Eventually, it'll be thrown out. But the fact that they're even willing to do it, and I love how also they pretend like they're representing the people, but they cherry pick the people that they represent.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's a handful of people that agree with us. The rest of the country doesn't care, but we're going to pick these. Oh, look, we're representing the people because this hand-selected group agrees with us. You can't trust any of these people, which is why we have the Second Amendment in the first place. Thoughts? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you get where we're coming from. Agree, disagree. If you disagree, at least make sense in the comments. Don't just tell me that I'm an ass. I already know that. Say something that makes sense instead of just making insults. If you are new to the channel and you're wondering why there's some random cat or dog images, it's something that we do because it helps with the uploading algorithm on YouTube. There's strays that we take care of, and it does make a difference when loading the video. If you wanted to help the channel out, there are links for that down below. Every little bit helps, and we sure do appreciate it. And if that's it, then what more can I say but stay frosty, folks, and thanks for watching.